Welcome back to Casey's Garage. I hope you're doing well. And today we're going to talk about the 2007 Honda Accord we picked up at the Copart auction. And we're going to discuss what I decided to do with it. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to look at is this Auto Auction IO. A lot of people have talked about this. Sam Crack has talked about this site, Auto Auction Rebuilds. Yeah, this channel or this video isn't sponsored by them, but I did go ahead and decide to sign up to take a look and see if I can find any previous history on the Honda, as well as in the future when we buy other vehicles or potentially buying other vehicles. We can take a look at this site and maybe prevent from this ordeal from happening again. So here's the Honda. This is the listing from December 10th, 2015, when it was at Copart in Kansas City the first time. And as you can see, it had 108,468,000 miles on it. Now it has 148 and change. So about 40,000 miles was put on the car. But anyway, let's go through these pictures and let's take a look at the damage back in 2015. Interior still looked great, and here it is, guys. So right over in here is where we noticed some cracking from the Bondo, and so we knew this is where the body work had been done. And as you can see, it was hit pretty good here. That whole corner is pushed in. The wheel is also damaged. You can see the suspension is damaged, maybe the axle might have been damaged. I'd have to say whoever fixed this car did a great job, because this car does drive really good. But this is the listing from 2015. So back then the car sold for just over $2,000, and I bought it this time for $450. So during the last video, I was a little unsure about what I was going to do with the car, but then after driving it a few times, I noticed it really does drive good. The car is a good solid vehicle. It's safe, it runs good, doesn't have any leaks. It's got several more miles left on her. So first thought was, let's keep the car, let's fix it, have some fun with it. There's tons and tons and tons of Honda parts out there, and we could just make it a build and just see where it takes us. So that was my first thought. So I went ahead and sourced a hood and from the salvage yard, and got it put on the car. And then about that time, a good friend of mine, he was looking for a car, for a first car for his daughter. And after looking at it together, we both decided, hey, this would be a great car. And so we went ahead and I finished painting the hood. Just did a quick paint job on it, single stage paint, nothing too fancy. And then he bought some new tires for it. I went ahead and gave it a fresh oil change, as well as a transmission fluid change. So that's what we're going to cover in this video. I'll show you a couple of things. There's not a whole lot of exciting content to show you, so I will not bore you with it, but we'll kind of cover all that. So here we go. Okay, and for this clip, we're going to go ahead and just do a voiceover. What we're using here is just a cable puller, and I've got it hooked up to the back of my Jeep Wrangler. And after a few tugs, that upper core support straightened out pretty easy. And now we just have to get that hood latch back in place. So that's what I'm doing here, is getting the bolts. And then once we get all these bolts in, we'll go ahead and close the hood down and see if it closes and see how good our gaps look. And then we'll go ahead and get the hood prepped for paint. So today we are going to get this hood painted that we picked up from the salvage yard for our 2007 Honda Accord. We're just going to do a quick, easy paint job with the mixed paint we got at O'Reilly's. But before we get this painted, what we need to do is flip this over, and we're not going to do the under part of the hood. He doesn't really care about that. So I'm going to flip this over and get the sound barrier fire retardant thing, that shield, whatever you want to call it, replaced, because the one that's on here is actually in pretty poor shape, and the one that came off the car looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and flip this over. There we go. And start taking this stuff off. Alright, so I already have this wet sanded down. I used 400 grit last night and just went over it real good on and scuffed the clear coat. So now we're just going to use some wax and grease remover and get it ready to spray. Alright guys, so I thought when I picked this can up it felt kind of light, but this definitely, there's hardly anything in this can. We only did one coat and the can is nearly empty, so I'm going to have to call O'Reilly's and talk to them about this and get some more paint. So I'll get back to you once we get back. Okay, so I guess we're going to have to put a pause on this paint job. The paint guy is not going to be in until tomorrow, and I don't even know how I'm going to be able to get in there around my work schedule. But since we can't do this, let's go ahead and get the engine bay cleaned up, and I guess we'll have to go from there. Alright guys, so what I'm going to use here to clean this engine bay up is some Super Clean Full Strength. We do have the negative terminal already disconnected from the battery, and it's been sitting for a couple minutes. I'm going to go ahead and spray this thing down, let it sit for a little bit, and then we'll spray it off with power washer. Alright, so now we'll just let this sit and dry for a little while, and then we'll come back and wipe everything down, maybe put some detailer on here and make it look almost brand new again. Alright guys, so what I'm going to use here is some Meguiar's Supreme Shine Protectant Wipes. I've used these in several videos. By far some of my favorite wipes. I'll put a link in the description below if you guys want to grab you some. It'll help support the channel. Alright guys, I think that's good enough. Looks a lot better than it did. One little spot right here though. There we go. Okay guys, let's see if we can get these headlights looking better like we've done on previous cars. We are going to use this Meguiar's 105 with dual action polisher, and let's see how it looks. Okay, could probably use another round, but I think that's good enough for what we're trying to accomplish. Definitely looks a lot better. So now I'm just going to go ahead and wipe off the windows where stuff got splattered up there, and I guess just call it quits for now until we get more paint to do the hood. So I will catch you when we get more paint. Alright guys, so I contact O'Reilly's and talked to a different paint person, and evidently the person that mixed up the can for me didn't know the ratios or the amounts, because that can, you know, of course didn't cover but 1.5 coats. So decided to go ahead and get a pint mixed up, and here we're spraying our first coat, and then we'll do a second and possibly a third coat. Alright guys, I am done with the 2007 Honda for what we're going to do to it. So I did get the transmission fluid changed as well as the oil. Real easy to do on this car, at least these older Hondas. To change the transmission fluid, all you do is just take off the take out the drain plug. It'll drain out 3 quarts, so you get fresh 3 quarts, pour it in, call it a day. There's no filter to change. It does have a filter, but it's an inline filter, which is easy to access underneath the hood. But Honda's service manual doesn't recommend changing the filter unless there's a problem with it. So easy job, only took minutes. But like I said, this car is finished. Apologize for any of those that subscribed, hoping we do a Honda build. But maybe in the future we will do another. But for now guys, this car is moving on, and it's going to my friend's house, and hopefully his daughter enjoys her first car. But that being said guys, we do have another project that I just picked up from Copart. So pretty excited about this one. I already have some ideas, but I guess we'll have to wait till next video to see what we got. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share this video. It does help support the channel and help get us recognized more on YouTube. And we will catch you guys next time on Casey's Garage. Peace.